What's up, guys? Man, this is just kind of a stream of consciousness type video. Yesterday, John Lennon has a saying, "Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans," and that statement is so true because you could be planning on doing something, and then something else happens that cancels those plans. Something horrible can happen. Yesterday was just a rough day. I saw a lot of news reports about this case in North Carolina about this young girl from Ukraine. I think it's Iryna Zaruska, something like that. I'm sure I butchered her name, but that started off my day. And it really put me in a funk. Just seeing this poor girl's face, the look of sheer terror. Backing up, for those that don't know, she just, she got off her shift working at the pizza place. She gets on the tram or subway, or it's in North Carolina. Maybe it was a bus. I think it was just a bus. And she sits down, and there's this gentleman behind her who seems like he definitely has some issues, some mental issues going on. You could tell before, but then the next thing that happens is just this heinous crime. And it really just set me in a funk, and the world. I saw all over social media about it, and I love that we're trying to keep her name going to remember her, because it's sad that you leave a war-torn country just to come to a country that you think you're going to be safe in, and then, the worst thing can happen. So the reason I stated the John Lennon thing, life is what happens when you're busy making other plans, is maybe you could relate that to her. You could relate it to me, because yesterday I was planning on recording my Alien Earth review for episode 6. I was going to do some editing for a new review that's coming up. And by the end of the day, I was just sad. I wasn't there. And, you can't really create. You can't record, or at least I can't, when my mind is just off. And in real time, as this was going on, then I hear about the Charlie Kirk shooting. He was in Utah doing his debates that he has with the college campuses. And I've watched a little bit of Charlie Kirk. I see him pop up on my feed from time to time. I haven't watched everything. The debates that I have watched, and by the way, I watched a couple after he died. I watched one today, and it felt like it was like a very, I don't want to say heated debate. I mean, both people were passionate. That's what it is. This guy is bold enough to go face to face with somebody who he knows has a completely opposing thought. He even states, let those people move to the front of the line. And just from what I watched, I think he loved getting into those conversations and getting into those debates, because maybe something can be taken away from the debate. Yeah, you're not going to change the person's mind, especially in this day and age. We just live in a current climate where people are just completely stuck on one side or the other, and there seems to be no middle ground. Even though I do think social media is kind of an echo chamber, and I do think there are a lot of people that are kind of in the middle. I'm definitely in the middle. Meaning that that doesn't mean I don't think politics are important. No, quite the opposite. But back, when I was growing up, in the 80s, when I was in high school, and in the 90s when I was in the military, we had civil discussions, and we didn't necessarily lean fully on one side. We might be 90% on one side, but there would be a 10% something that we would talk with each other, and we would say, hey, you know what, I kind of, like, just to give you an example, and this isn't me personally, although it could be. There's a reason I don't divulge, my political beliefs on my channel, because of the nature of my channel. But just to give you a hypothetical example, one person might be for, have an opinion on gun control, but they also might have a differing opinion on, like, abortion, right? So it's usually not cut and dry. I am 100% this side or I'm 100% this side. So the reason I'm stating this, and by the way, I'm just, again, stream of consciousness here. I don't really have like an agenda or anything. I just needed to get this off my mind because the world today and seeing how people are applauding and rejoicing the death of someone that, as far as I saw, actually, no, not as far as I saw. Nobody deserves what happened to him. Somebody that just wants to have a conversation in person, by the way. That's another step. Not a conversation online, because a lot of people hide behind their keyboards online. No, this was somebody that wanted to have a conversation in person with people. Did he want to antagonize them? Did he want to provoke them? I can't speak for Charlie. Only Charlie can speak for himself. But I don't necessarily believe that. I think there was some good there. Otherwise, why would you go and talk to the, I guess, opposing side? What's the point if the reason isn't for maybe some sort of middle ground or education? Who knows? But again, it doesn't matter. A person was shot and killed, and we are in a new era now. This is a new playing field, okay? And I think that's one thing that a lot of people are not understanding. And I'm seeing it on my Facebook. I'm seeing it on X. I'm seeing it everywhere. And people are still doing the same thing that they were doing before he died. They're talking about, I don't agree with his policies, and then they line up all his policies. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, guys. We have entered a new era now, okay? Because now people are dead. Somebody has been killed who has not provoked anyone violently, by the way. I've watched a lot of Charlie Kirk's, his debates. I don't agree with everything, maybe even a lot of what Charlie Kirk says, but this is a person that's just wanting to have a civil discussion, maybe heated, because that's going to happen. And you go in the trenches and you have those heated debates, but oftentimes maybe at the end of that debate, there can be a shaking of hands or a clap from the audience. But no, the discussion, at least from Charlie's point of view, is over now. There will never be another discussion. He was killed. He was shot in the neck, and he died pretty much instantly. And the whole world could see it. They could literally just scroll social media, scroll X, and they could literally see this man die, this father, this husband die, this son. He has parents. 31 years old. Charlie Kirk was 1 year older than my son. And that really hit me. I'm over 20 years older than Charlie Kirk. And I almost feel guilty that I'm alive, because that was a guy who's, his life was ahead of him. He still had quite a few years of growth, and who knows what would have happened. I don't know. Again, your opinion on Charlie Kirk as a person in this situation, to me, doesn't matter. Okay, I think everybody, you, me, we have a right to debate each other, to have an opinion on things, and to have a civil discussion about things. And that was ended yesterday. It is over. For the people that are on the left, you can never debate Charlie again. For the people that are on the right, you can never, I guess, watch Charlie's. And there's people on the right that probably don't agree with everything Charlie says. I was watching Joe Rogan today. I think Joe Rogan is maybe a little bit, I don't want to speak for him, but he sounds like he's a little bit right-leaning. But even he stated, I don't agree with everything Charlie Kirk says. And you know what? There's a chance that most of the world doesn't agree with every single policy on one side or the other, and that's the beauty of discussion and debate. And again, it's over. As far as Charlie's concerned, he will never have a debate again. And it's sad. It really, really just breaks my heart. It really does. And I like right now, I'm in such a funk that I feel like I can't even I can't focus on the content of my channel. I feel like I can't, at least for right now, I feel like I can't talk about horror movies and pop culture and horror updates. What's the latest Scream update? Right now, I don't care. It doesn't matter. And it's sad too, because this is the start of spooky season. And I always get excited for the start of spooky season. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. One thing I will say to my young viewers, on both sides of the argument, some of you might not know the song. Listen to the words to the song by Depeche Mode, People Are People.
People are people, so why should it be? You and I should get along so awfully.
Really listen to the words to that song, And I guess the point here is that this isn't nothing new. We've had discourse, division in the past. We pretty much throughout all of time. The 60s with the Vietnam conflict, and there was a big division going on with that whole thing. Soldiers were getting spit on. With the Iraq War, you had opposing sides on, and this is nothing new, but I think it's different now because we have social media and people have direct access. And if social media didn't exist, would what happened to Charlie Kirk yesterday have happened? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. I think social media feeds into it. I think a lot of us, and I'm not talking about post Charlie Kirk's death. I'm talking about just in general. I think a lot of us, we take this stuff a little bit more seriously than we actually mean. And I think social media stokes that fire. I think you're going about your day. We all have jobs. We all have families. We have kids. And we're just living our lives. But then we get on social media and we see somebody make a comment on there. We might see Charlie Kirk make a post that really just, pisses you off or something, does something to really just kind of ignite something in you. And you feel like, oh no, I got to give my side of this now. I'm so angry right now. And then I got to say something that maybe I don't even mean, or maybe I would never say to somebody's face in public. We do that. I do it probably, Nobody is perfect. And I know that's cliche to say, but it's true. It's true. And once we resort to violence and we take a life, there's no turning back. And it's happened and it's done. And I think that's the thing that people that are rejoicing about this and celebrating about this are missing here. I don't think they realize that it's going to happen again. And you know what? It's going to happen to your side. It's going to happen to the left the next time. Or maybe it'll happen to the right again. But it's going to happen again because the door has been opened. And are you going to rejoice when somebody that agrees with you on everything, when they die? No, you're not. You're going to be sad. It's going to break your heart. But I'm going to tell you right now, we need people to debate. I think debate is important. I think we need people that disagree with us or that we disagree with them, because what that does is it stokes the fire of conversation, and maybe something is learned out of that conversation. That's the beauty of debate. And it happens with me all the time, even when I'm talking about movies. Sometimes I'll talk about movies and there will be a certain aspect of a movie that I didn't really like. Like, I'll give you an example. The movie that just came out about the woman that may or may not have taken her own life. I can't remember the name of it right now. You guys will let me know in the comments. But when I first watched that movie, I think I took something different from it than what it maybe really was. And the only way I could learn about that is conversation. So I think we need to talk with people that we disagree with civilly. And I have so many friends on both sides. And that's partly because of what I do, also because I was in the military. And when I was in the military, I had friends on every end of the spectrum, and I loved every one of them, and I would give my life for every one of them. And I feel like the same with a lot of you guys. The horror family is made up of so many different races, religions, political opinions, and we all respect each other. At least I think we do. But don't depend on everything you read on X. Don't believe everything you read on X, and don't let it govern your life. Yeah, I think I've said everything that I need to say about this, but it's been bothering me for pretty much ever since yesterday. Been in a real funk, and I think we need to have conversations, and I think you guys maybe get in the comments and talk to each other. And you know, think before you speak. Think before you speak. I posted something. This is the last thing I'll say. I posted something on X today, and I said, maybe a little experiment. Actually, I'll just read it to you. Okay, I'll just read it to you. Trying to process the celebration by so many on here. So let's reframe this. Take the victim and their politics out of it. Take a deep breath and think about this. A person with an opinion who debated people publicly, face to face, was shot because of his opinions. We have entered a new era. I don't think anyone recognizes this. When we can't have civil, educated discussions with each other, when we resort to violence, the line has been crossed. There is no going back. We've entered a new age. It'll probably get worse. I hope it doesn't. So yeah, guys, that's the end of this. Be good to each other. Take care of each other. And if you can, maybe have a discussion with somebody that you are on opposing sides with. Somebody who isn't 14 years old and acts like an idiot. Or maybe somebody that acts like they're 14 years old. I don't know. A mature person. Okay, talk with somebody that's mature that maybe is on opposing sides with you. I do it all the time, you know, offline. And have a discussion, okay? And one thing I meant to say on here is that in my family, actually, we never pushed our kids in any direction whatsoever politically. And because of that, I will say, you know, one of my children leans one way, one of my children leans the other way. Not fully, but we never, ever, ever get into any kind of argument. You know, we always have a civil discussion with each other about it, and we respect each other's opinions, and you can do that too, okay? So anyway, guys, be good to each other. Love you guys.